Welcome to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast, hosted by author, educator, speaker, and mom, the Cool Cat teacher, Vicki Davis. Every weekday, Vicki and her guests will help you discover powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today. In this episode number 650, Vicki and Chester's Dean of Students, Brad Currie, talk about building a community of remote learning. Brad's kudos include being awarded Visionary Assistant Principal of the Year, and as you'll find out, he is truly a visionary and a champion for teachers during this time of transition towards distance learning. We want to thank Advancement Courses for sponsoring today's podcast. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn about their free micro course on online learning and how you can earn college credits for taking part in that. Let's check in with Vicki and Brad right now.
So today we're talking to my friend Brad Currie, Director of Planning, Research, and Evaluation for the Chester School District in Chester, New Jersey. He's 2017 NASSP National Assistant Principal of the Year and the co-founder of SatChat. So Brad, you talk to educators all over the planet, and we want to kind of talk about what's happening in education. What are people saying as we're coping with the coronavirus crisis? What are they saying and what's going on in districts, the full range?
Vicki, this is definitely one of the most interesting and unique times in education that I've ever experienced, and I'm sure you as well and your listeners. The people in our district and the Chester School District, at first were just couldn't believe what they were hearing and then what they were planning for in the event that the coronavirus was indeed going to impact our schools. And then we went a couple weeks ago to, all right, now we're really going to be off for a number of weeks. And now it's looking like possibly even more than that. Possibly school year is going to be complete without us even stepping foot back into our classrooms. And so with those emotions, our staff has really stepped up to the plate and have conducted themselves as professionals like they always have and doing phenomenal things with technology. Some folks who maybe necessarily weren't known for their technology integration now conducting amazing lessons online. Now, is it the same as in person? Absolutely not. But for what we're encountering right now as educators, basically teaching from our dining room tables and living room couches, everybody's been phenomenal.
So you had all your students with internet access?
We're very fortunate in the Chester School District. We are a Title I district, but for the most part, the majority of our families fortunately have internet access. We are a one-to-one school district with Chromebooks. So at the beginning, we had just the middle school students bring home their Chromebooks as they usually do, but actually bring them home and keep them home, knowing that the situation that we're in now could be in the near future. And then with our elementary kids, they don't necessarily bring home their devices every night. And so we gave them the option at first to either bring them home or not. And then last week, as we closed schools, people became a little nervous and they realized that maybe they needed the extra device at home because now people are actually going to be working from home. So we needed those extra devices. And to be honest with you, Comcast and Verizon, all those Wi-Fi providers really stepped up to the plate and are helping those families, not only in our district, but in school districts throughout the country with free Wi-Fi as we go through this situation.
So turn to your SatChat friends. You've been part of this bustling chat for years. How long ago did you found it, Brad?
SatChat's been around since 2012.
Yeah.
So 8 years.
Wow.
8 years, actually. It's coming up next month in April.
Thank you for such a great chat and for keeping it going. So what's that community talking about? I mean, what are they saying? Because, there's just a lot of different things happening.
Actually, last weekend, Scott, Billy, and I had the idea of bringing on Jason Glass, who's a superintendent out in Illinois, I believe. And we co-moderated a chat on remote learning. And we had over 1,000 tweets in that 1 hour and hundreds of participants from around the country and around the world. We kind of think this coronavirus is just in our backyard or it's in our country, but it's worldwide, and people sharing perspectives on how they're dealing with it. And, equity was a main theme, and how can people, teachers, and how can leaders lead from home, and how can teachers teach from home, and how can students learn from home. And we just shared so many great resources and ideas through the SatChat hashtag last Saturday. You can actually look at the archives, check them out on the Wakelet app. Just search SatChat, you'll find those tweets and those resources. But the perspectives that were shared were quite interesting and ran the gamut for sure. And people, just like as they're listening to your podcast here, they're listening on Twitter as well. And one of the hashtags that has been really beneficial for myself and others from around the country and around the world is the remote learning hashtag. I actually put a tweet out there, I think it was last week, of just like 16 apps that you can use for remote learning. I was just going to put it out there. Maybe a couple people would see it. It was liked over 700 times and retweeted like 400 times. I mean, people are just kind of in the dark right now. And people like you, people like me are just trying to help people out with catching up and, just trying to continue to help students out the best they can.
Well, it really is a community, and we've got to search for answers. We've got this whole emotional piece of things. We've got teachers torn between, going through the stages of grief. I mean, letting go of this school year, letting go of their ideas of, quote, coverage, so many different things there. But then the fear, how are people helping their students and their teachers get to a place where we can say, okay, let's just do this from home for a while, and then we'll connect when it's time.
I'm seeing this firsthand here in my own house. My wife is a special education teacher, middle school, and she's, trying to make sense of it on her end. Both of us obviously are seeing it as parents. My son's in 8th grade, my daughter in 3rd grade, and seeing them learn from home, seeing my wife teach from home. And I see my colleagues, and not only do I see them, I'm interacting with them every day remotely, whether it's through email, through a Google Meet, through a phone call. And just, I think everybody is understanding the importance of being there for each other, whether it's a simple email, say, hey, I saw this resource here, or through humor. I see a lot of humor out there amongst our colleagues and amongst educators, just trying to make light of a situation, even though it's a serious situation, just to kind of put a smile on people's faces as much as you can. I'm seeing what you and I have been preaching for years, building that community, not only through your PLNs, but through the networks that you have within your own buildings, within your own districts. This people coming together. I'm seeing stories all the time. I'm witnessing them firsthand. This morning, one of our 3rd grade or 1st grade teams got together virtually and just were talking about how they were coping. They were sharing resources, strategies that worked, didn't work with remote teaching. It's just been tremendous.
So fill in the blank for me, Brad. After we're through this crisis and we go back to school, I hope we don't blank.
I hope we don't go back to the way we were leading and teaching prior to this coronavirus hitting us. I hope we continue to, status quo is not an option. I hope we continue to challenge ourselves, challenge our students, and continue to balance the virtual and physical worlds to promote the success of all students.
Well, SatChat is a great resource. Tell us what time and how we can participate, Brad.
Every Saturday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for SatChat on Twitter.
But what resources can they go on Wakelet and find in the coming week?
We are supposed to discuss personalized learning. I don't know if that's going to be I don't know what our schedule is going to be like. We have to move things around or not, but it should be personalized learning, which is kind of, on the same lines of what we're doing here with remote teaching and learning a little bit anyway.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, Vicki. I appreciate it.
Advancement Courses has a free micro course, Launching Online Learning. Go to coolcatteacher.com/online learning to register for this free, valuable micro course. And you can earn college credits as well. Just ask them how. Now is the time we all need to educate ourselves on effective online teaching, and Vicki recommends this course as a great and free place to start. Thank you, Advancement Courses, for sponsoring this show on such an important topic, and we'll see you next time.